Hello and welcome to Stories de la Frontera, Student Edition. I'm Manuel Santos.
And I'm Claudia Simones. Thank you for joining us.
Today we'll present several compelling and very emotional stories that cross international lines. From poverty to success, these stories take place in a dynamic region we call home, San Diego and Tijuana.
Two multicultural and unique cities who many believe are so different, but in reality have a lot in common.
We begin with a San Diego missionary who went to Honduras as a tourist and came back with her life's purpose.
She is helping many poor and malnourished communities in Honduras who are faced with a dilemma that could easily be solved. Mitchell Harris has the story.
Honduras is a country with a lot to offer. Located just above Nicaragua in Central America, Honduras is host to a vibrant culture, thick rainforests, and white sandy beaches. Unfortunately, it is also a land surrounded by poverty and sickness. Many women don't get the prenatal care they need, forcing Honduran babies out of the womb into a disease they will never recover from. This disease is called hydrocephalus. Sean Plowman is an American nutritionist who devotes her life as a missionary here in Honduras. She has been returning to the Mario Catarina Rivas Hospital for the last 7 years.
Hydrocephalus is a neural tube defect, and what happens is that the water it continues to accumulate in the lining of the brain, and the head gets really large. And when this happens, it's like putting the brain in a pressure cooker, and they're all mentally retarded. They lose the ability to contract their muscles, so a lot of times you'll see their hands are like this and they can't move them. But the intestine is also a muscle. The body loses the ability to move the food through the intestines, so they become very malnourished. They go blind, they go deaf, and most of these children, if not treated, will die by their 5th birthday.
Poverty leads many Hondurans to form communities along the rivers. We visited a woman named Maria who lived in one such shantytown called Rio Blanco. This family of 5, soon to be 6, lived in conditions that are hard to imagine by American standards. While praying for Maria's unborn child, Sean realizes Maria is much farther along in her pregnancy than she had thought.
Señora, yo creo que tiene más de 5 meses de su embarazo, ¿verdad? Tiene como 6-7 meses, porque este bebé está moviendo mucho con mucha fuerza.
In Honduras, we work with a lot of women that come from villages called the Bordos. The Bordos, the houses are constructed, trash bags, old pallets, cardboard boxes, just anything that they can find. The average income of these families is less than $1 a day. And all the kids that live in the Bordos are malnourished, all the moms that live in the Bordos are malnourished. So the births that result from these pregnancies are extremely high risk for developing a baby with hydrocephalus, because it's a problem of malnutrition of the mother.
The Mario Catarina Rivas Hospital is filled with people from towns just like Rio Blanco. People who can't afford proper nourishment, which puts newborns at a higher risk of developing hydrocephalus.
Hydrocephalus is caused by a deficiency of folic acid in the mother's diet. And foods that are high in folic acid, especially like the dark leafy greens, are not consumed at all in Honduras. In the U.S., the neurosurgeon will put a shunt in, and then the water will drain out. A lot of times you may send your kids to school with a child that had hydrocephalus, you would never know it. In a perfect world, the baby gets born, they get treated, their shunts kept clean, they're able to drain the water. But in Honduras, there's a lot of barriers to that happening. Hydrocephalus is a non-survivable problem without treatment.
Across the street from the hospital sits a row of coffin stores, open 24 hours a day. Notice on the left how the coffins come in child sizes. In many ways, the cause of hydrocephalus is still poorly understood, but in Honduras, it claims the lives of children every day.
When I go down and I see the children whose lives we saved, it motivates me.
The proceeds from buying a bag of her delicious coffee go directly to the hospital and the Honduran people in need. If you would like to donate or help, visit online coffeeforkidshonduras.com.
While some fight for their lives, others have fought for freedom, oftentimes with no rewards.
The U.S. allows foreign nationals an opportunity to gain citizenship through service in the U.S. Armed Forces.
So why are an estimated 3,000 military vets facing deportation? Our very own James Smith has the story.
That's just a part of the oath taken by many men and women entering gates just like these to serve their country and possibly sacrifice their lives for their fellow citizens. Or so they thought.
I believe these people that told me that I'm going to earn my citizenship by serving this country and this country's military, and it was all a lie.
This is Fernando Cervantes, a Vietnam-era vet who came to America from Mexico at the age of 7 and joined the Army at the age of 19.
I was talking to my recruiter, and he said, without me even asking him, he said, by the way, by joining the military, you automatically become an American citizen. I said, great.
But after serving his tour of duty and discharging honorably, Fernando had trouble assimilating back into his community and was subsequently arrested and convicted for a crime in 2006 that would truly turn his life inside out.
When I arrived in Tehachapi, the immigration came up and called me out and said, you got an immigration hold on you. I said, I don't understand.
So why was this happening? In 1996, immigration legislation under President Bill Clinton changed, limiting judges' discretion and expanding the scope of aggravated felonies.
But in immigration court, aggravated felonies are certain crimes that prevent people from having any sort of relief.
I don't know of any more mean-spirited law than you can have than a law that makes it retroactive, that what you did 25 years ago, you're now going to be held responsible for, not just in a court of law, but an immigration court whose hands have been tied.
Jan, Heather, and Louis Alvarez, a veteran who fought and prevented his own deportation, founded the Banished Veterans. The Banished Veterans was a group put together to support vets fighting deportation and those hoping to return.
I tell you, the only hope I see is when I look at the guys that have been deported who have gathered together, about 14 of them, in Rosarito Beach, who look out for one another as best as they can.
But they're not the only ones.
Veterans are all over the world. You know, I ran into veterans from Spain, Germany, Canada, Africa.
Fernando was taken to El Centro Detention Center to await deportation. With limited resources, he filed for his citizenship, but he never got the opportunity to continue the process.
They didn't want to hear it. They wanted to beat me up. Because they said, we can do this the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. I said, look, I'm not going to get beat up and still get thrown out of the country anyway.
Fernando spent the next year a stranger in the land he was born in.
I speak the language. I can speak, read, and write Spanish. But people can tell that I wasn't raised in Mexico.
Thanks to the help of Banished Veterans and Latham & Watkins law firm, Fernando received post-conviction relief and the call to return home.
I was jumping for joy. I couldn't believe it. The first thing I did was tell my brother. I said, hey, man, I'm going home.
Fernando is back home in the U.S. because his conviction was overturned. A judge found that he had inadequate counsel. Therefore, no conviction, no deportation. And things are changing.
In the second Gulf War, USCIS started naturalizing our military members on the bases abroad.
But unfortunately, the deportable vets can only hope for a change in the law.
When Barack Obama and other politicians say that veterans have given and that there's a sacrifice they've made that we can never repay, that we'll never forget, we cannot forget. This is so wrong. It just breaks my heart.
While many vets have tried to re-enter the United States legally, Fernando is the only veteran who has successfully done so. Now we head south to Tijuana, San Diego's neighbor, a bustling city of over 2 million people.
Tijuana also shares many of San Diego's problems, including a border fence and an ocean which divides both cities.
In the fall, both cities combine effort to clean up the coastline. Astrid Mendez Medina has more on Salvemos la Playa.
There are still places in Tijuana where people are mired in poverty and kids play surrounded by trash, like the communities around the Alamer Creek, now a usual cleaning spot for Salvemos la Playa.
La basura no nada más está en nuestras playas, sino que inicia también desde adentro.
Twice a year, Tijuana residents clean areas around the creek and along the coastline. Dressed up with jeans, gloves, and hats, they grab their trash bags and start counting every single piece of garbage they find along the way. The most popular items are cigarette butts, plastic bags, and tin cans, but sometimes an unexpected item shows up.
Una paloma muerta que unos muchachos trajeron.
Almost 8 tons of trash were picked up by 2,000 volunteers in this edition. 5 tons came slowly from the Alamer Creek. Salvemos la Playa has been going on for more than 10 years, and hundreds of volunteers still show up because they care about their community. Friends and families spend quality time together while they learn about the environment through workshops.
Es concientización a través de la acción, es que la gente venga, que vea, que recoja y que tome conciencia del impacto de sus acciones que tienen los ecosistemas.
Especially when one ecosystem is shared by 2 countries and does not care about borders.
It was really touching to be here and see both sides doing the same work for the same water that flows into the same ocean.
A cleaner ocean both in San Diego and Tijuana that now everybody can enjoy.
In comparison, 7,500 volunteers collected over 75 tons of trash in coastal, inland, and urban sites across San Diego County that very same day.
Hundreds of new people arrive to the border city every day from all over Latin America, seeking a better economic future for their families.
But in recent years, finding a job has become more difficult, forcing women and children to beg on the streets. Jessie Gomez Villela has more.
It's a busy night along the Tijuana border. A long stream of cars move inch by inch as hundreds of people wait to cross back into the United States. Through the busy line of smog and headlights, a young boy and his cousin walk through the mazes of polluted mass transit, putting on a show, hoping to collect tips. These two are not alone. In fact, there are many more children just like them, maneuvering through the lines, performing acts, and asking strangers for charity. Many of these children are between the ages of 4 to 10, and consistently it seems outsiders of Tijuana, most migrating from Mexican states like Guerrero and Oaxaca. Their mothers and siblings speak little Spanish and prefer to talk among themselves in their native tongue. Many travel thousands of miles, ending up here armed with a cup in hand, a city street, and a hope of small donations to help them survive. Their presence brings up controversy, oftentimes by professional vendors who carry proper documentation, allowing them to be here. And there are others who question their true motives. One local authority who did not want to be identified has some harsh accusations about these women and children.
¿Qué pasan las niñas? Sí, señor, deme dinero. Y como no le dan, va con un policía o con una persona que el señor quiere tener, me está diciendo que tenga relaciones sexuales conmigo y que no sé qué. Es una forma de extorsionar a la niña.
In the meantime, children continue to weep in and out of cars like playgrounds of metal. Many of these children too young to really understand. Yet, playful 7-year-old Galea smiles when she asks what she wants to be when she grows up.
Trabajar en una Soriana.
¿En dónde?
Soriana.
¿En Soriana? ¿Quieres trabajar allí? Calimán.
Despite claims of mafia ties and other negative perceptions of these women and their children, there's still a genuine need for resources and social change to protect these families who are no doubt poverty-stricken, still living along Tijuana's borderfront.
Most of the children we met claim to attend school. However, many of them can be seen at all hours of the night walking the borderline.
Some of those families face more than a financial struggle. Many of the children in Tijuana's poorest neighborhoods do not attend school and never learn to read or write. But one foundation in Tijuana is trying to change that one child at a time.
Relleno Sanitario Valle de las Palmas is one of the 45 rural colonias in Tijuana, one of the poorest communities. 200 people live here. Half of them are children like 7-year-old Alan. Due to the poverty level in this neighborhood, having homework is a luxury because many kids simply can't afford school. Alan and 5-year-old Angel do not have a promising future.
¿Ya sabes leer?
Todavía no.
¿Estás aprendiendo?
Apenas.
¿Y sabes quién es el presidente de México?
No.
¿No sabes el nombre del presidente de México? ¿Y tú sabes quién es el presidente de México?
No.
¿Te gustaría saber?
Sí.
At his young age, Angel is well aware of his family's financial situation. He knows why he does not attend school.
Mi mamá no me lleva porque no tiene dinero.
Mauro Calderón Trejo is one of the residents of Relleno Sanitario. He works at the trash dump next to the colonia, where many residents work sifting through trash. Living off the money they make recycling, Mauro shares a dream with all of them.
Como una escuela para estos niños que sufren bastante.
A school like the one Blanca and Alan wish for.
Con cemento, que tuviera patio, que tuviera juegos y cosas.
Ay, que me enseñen a leer mejor. Que mi mamá me lleve lonche, de todo, pues.
Marco Abraham Ledesma Lucas is working hard to give children like Alan a chance for a better future through the Lucas Family Foundation. According to Marco, close to 28,000 families in Tijuana suffer extreme poverty. This is why Marco believes education for these children is highly important.
La educación te abre caminos, no nada más caminos, sino que te abre oportunidades. Y al tú tener diferentes oportunidades ya puedes por lo menos aspirar a salir de aquí.
Marco not only hopes the best for the kids, but is also contributing by volunteering. It is a remarkable gesture for the college professor who holds a doctorate degree from Harvard.
Leer, escribir, muchos de ellos están en 6º grado y no saben hacerlo.
Many of the children are too young to understand how much the Lucas Family Foundation is doing for their community.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
But it's
7,
clearly
8,
making a difference,
9,
providing a better future.
The Lucas Family Foundation is looking forward to opening at least one school free of charge this coming year.
Music can be a great distraction during difficult times. In the eastern part of Tijuana, children are giving life to another form of music. Maria Elena Castellanos takes us on a musical journey to La Colonia El Pipila.
In the southeast side of Tijuana, there's an unfamiliar sound. Young people armed with instruments and new hope for the future. The sounds are coming from inside the Casa de la Cultura El Pipila, named after El Pipila, a Mexican national hero.
Y mucha gente no tiene acceso, gente de aquí es de escasos recursos, no tienen dinero a veces pues para comer, mucho menos para pagar un transporte.
In 2010, the center started its first youth orchestra and classical music program. With high delinquency rates in the neighborhood, the children face personal challenges. Esbeili Rosales attends on a scholarship. Even though classes cost the equivalent of $12 a month, it is not enough for her to chase her musical dreams.
Mi nombre es Janine Esbeili Rosales y me gusta tocar la viola.
She takes 2 buses to get to class, and sometimes has to miss if her family doesn't have the money to pay for transportation.
Muy hermoso cuando tocas. Te gusta sentir los aplausos de la gente y que te pidan más. Es adictivo.
Esbeili and many of her classmates like Alexis Casanova use instruments on loan. Alexis already knows how to play music, but never learned to read it until now.
Me hubiera gustado desde más chico y meterme a esto desde chico.
Reynaldo Silva is the children's instructor. He was a first violinist in several orchestras.
Lo que más me gusta es que cuando ellos entran al salón de la orquesta, automáticamente dejan atrás los problemas que puedan tener en su casa, el problema que pueda tener la mamá con el papá.
He exposes his students to European, Mexican, and Cuban classical music.
Ellos quieren tocar, ellos quieren ensayar.
His father, the maestro Electo Silva, is a famous composer from Cuba. Ismael and Susana Maqueda have been coming since the program was first started. Susana, who plays the violin, sometimes misses class for fear of walking home at night. Still, she has big dreams for her own future.
Yo sí pensaba en grandes cosas con esto, porque a mí me gusta mucho ayudar a la gente. En lo personal también me gustaría aprender así más como para ser maestra y dar clases en comunidad así necesitados.
And with incredible odds, these young people do not give up on their dreams. With the recent elections and new management at El Pipila, some wonder what's next for the youth orchestra. What is clear so far is in this part of the city, the program has given these children a chance at a new dream.
And to learn more about La Casa de la Cultura at El Pipila, its programs and events, visit their Facebook page at Casa Cultura El Pipila. Along the border, there are many myths that are still alive and well. One of them is a story about a Mexican soldier who has become a folk saint. Alex Miller Pastori takes us to the cemetery where many still worship him.
Yo te prometo comprarte tu lápida. Te lo prometo con todo mi corazón, pero tráeme a mi hija.
The faithful have been coming here nearly every day since 1938. The tomb of Juan Soldado is one of the most visited graves in this cemetery. And here's someone who should know. Her flower stand greets them as they enter.
Es donde termina el panteón, era el cerro de lo que es aquí el panteón. Y ahí es donde la veneran también porque se dice que ahí derramó su última sangre.
Even though Juan Soldado, or Juan the Soldier, still has a loyal following, he isn't loved by everyone, and his legend still stirs controversy.
La religión católica no cree en él porque es una ánima. Para ellos, para los padres, es realmente culpable.
Juan Castillo Morales was a private serving with the Mexican Army and stationed in Tijuana, Baja California. In February of 1938, 8-year-old Olga Camacho went on an errand for her mother and never came back. A few days later, her decapitated body was found. Private Morales was accused of the gross rape and murder.
No tuvo un proceso. Le dieron ley fuga.
After the private's death, various stories began to circulate. Many believed Morales was innocent and framed by a superior officer, or that the political affiliations of the girl's family played a role in his conviction. These lingering debates, however, don't seem to deter those who believe. They're willing to trust Juan Soldado with hope when hope is all they have left.
The victim's family is appealing to the city government to remove the tomb from the public cemetery because Olga's body also remains buried there.
Closer to the tourist strip in another part of the city, mariachis gather in a plaza hoping to get hired to perform at the next big event. Tatiana Magdaleno discovered one unique voice in Plaza Santa Cecilia.
This is Plaza Santa Cecilia in Tijuana. It has been around since the 80s and is known to be the heart of where mariachis meet, play, and audition in hopes of getting hired. Marta Carrillo is a female vocalist that has been singing at the plaza for about 1.5 years by way of invitation of other male musicians.
Pero fui invitada más bien, fui invitada a participar porque mi voz es bravía. Ajá, entonces ese tipo de voz, me dijeron, oiga señora, ¿qué hace allí en la explanada cantando? Véngase para acá. Y me invitaron a participar.
Mariachi music is a very passionate form of expression, whether it be about machoism, love, or even betrayal. These types of emotions are exactly what drive Marta to put her heart into these songs.
O sea, la hacen más bien tuya, el sentimiento de cada letra. Entonces interpretas el personaje y eso te hace emociona hasta las lágrimas. Créame, lo que yo, aunque no quiera llorar, digo, ay, ya me vino una lágrima. Caricias que abrieron las puertas al amor y a los distintos que dejaron huella, aunque no lo vuelva a ver.
Mariachi music also welcomes children. 9-year-old Julissa Reyes, also known as Lucita, performs in Santa Cecilia and aspires to become a famous singer.
Me siento alegre porque siento así como que me escuchan cantar y siento como si me reconocen. El de la mochila azul, el de ojitos dormilones.
Mariachi music is one of the most special Mexican traditions that will continue its legacy and expand around the world.
Mariachis are even expanding as far as Germany and Australia. If you're ever near the tourist area, visit Plaza Santa Cecilia to enjoy some authentic mariachi music.
Mariachi music may be very popular, but when it comes to sports, soccer is king in Mexico. However, in Tijuana, the main sports used to be baseball and American football until the Cholos arrived.
Since then, the Cholos have created a massive fan base on both sides of the border. Alvaro Castillo has the story.
The dedication to Club Tijuana's Cholos Quincles de Caliente, better known as the Cholos, can be seen and heard throughout the stadium and beyond.
A través de estos 6 años, casi 7 que lleva la franquicia, pues la verdad nos ha traído muchas alegrías aquí a la frontera. En cuestión económicamente, también juntando las familias, nos hacía falta un equipo o más que nada alguna actividad donde juntar a toda la comunidad, ¿no? Ya sea tanto de Estados Unidos como de aquí de Baja California.
Many people who fill these seats have traveled south from the United States to watch what they consider to be premier soccer.
I love sports. My family loves sports. The community here in Tijuana is just like San Diego. They're sports fanatics, family fun. You see kids all over just rooting for their favorite team here in town.
The club was founded in 2007, and in May of 2011, the Cholos were promoted to the Primera División, that's the first division of the Liga MX, to replace another club team, Necaxa. After a year of its promotion, the Cholos were champions of the first division. The team was invited to the 54th edition of the Copa Libertadores, where they had a heartbreaking loss in a tie to tournament champions Atlético Mineiro of Brazil in the quarterfinals. The club is currently playing in the CONCACAF's Champions League, hoping to get past the LA Galaxy in the quarterfinal matchups in 2014. Over the years, the team's popularity has soared. It's more than just a game for the soccer fans, it's a family affair complete with tailgating and more. This section of the stadium is better known as the Masacre de Tijuana. In English, that's the Massacre of Tijuana.
As you can see behind me, it's all about the cheers. It's a Cholo nation.
Aquí la Masacre siempre apoyando al Cholo desde siempre. En las buenas y en las malas, como debe de ser, al 100%.
The future of this young team is bright. They just got a new head coach in Cesar Farias Acosta, the former Venezuelan national soccer team's head coach. They've launched soccer programs for kids and teens, and with a huge fan base that keeps growing on both sides of the border, there is no end in sight.
The Cholos are currently preparing for their next season that starts in January with the LA Clásico on December 28th versus Club América of Mexico City.
For more information on Club Tijuana, visit their Facebook page or go to cholosofficial.com.
We hope Stories de la Frontera Student Edition has encouraged you to visit and learn more about our border.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Claudia Simones.
And I'm Manuel Santos. Have a great evening.